I want to welcome you to another installment of the Invested Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Invest. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at All Things Invest and also smack that subscribe button to Invest Universal. I got a super dope guest on here. It's her second time coming on the show. She's an ambassador for the brand. She makes content for me as well. I'm pretty sure you've seen A Day in the Life with Paizley Martinez. It's like a video blog. Her and her kids just going through life, the grind. She's also an aspiring bodybuilder. She's many things. She's a mother, girlfriend, fiance, just many things that she does. And today we're recording on World Mental Health Day. We'll drop this on a Thursday, but today is World Mental Health, and it's so fitting because the topic that we're going to talk about today is going to be mental health. So again, let's welcome Paizley Martinez to the Invested Podcast. Paizley, homegirl, how you doing? What up?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be back on here with you. The last podcast we did was fire, so I'm super excited to do another one with you.
So how's everything going with you and in life? I know you were down. You were a little bit sick last week. Am I right?
Oh my gosh, I was feeling like dog crap. I felt terrible. I don't know what it was. My kids got it. I got it. And it was like 24 hours and then it was gone. But we're feeling better. We're back at it. What about you? You doing good over there?
Good. I'm doing good. Just like life, things are like moving really fast. So sometimes I have to kind of sit down, take a mental break to kind of like get a real kind of grasp for things, So one of the things I want to say thank you for being an ambassador for the brand for the past year. We're going into our second year, and we've done some great things. I remember I had first met you, and I really had fell in love with the original story. Those of you that don't know, I had originally had Paizley Martinez on the show. I think it was like sometime like last winter, and she talked about her story from being a woman losing like 87 pounds. Then she had went from being overweight to being super skinny and then being buff. She's done some great transformations, and she's done a lot of things to really help the brand. I saw the star in her maybe before a lot of people did. And sometimes when you're in business, you have to really find those diamonds in the rough. You find those stars sometime before they're stars, and she definitely was shining, and she was definitely somebody I wanted to work with, and it's done really, really well. The content you post for us is really good. It's gotten us a lot of engagement, gotten us a lot of sales, it's gotten us some notoriety. People say, wow, who is this girl? Like, her personality is like super like dynamic, and people love you. So I want to say, keep being genuine, keep putting out real content, and always stay true to yourself. So we're going to get into like our first like kind of like questions and just really talking about the space of like mental health. So I know recently you were going to do like a bodybuilding show, and you had put on quite a bit of muscle. I seen the transformation from when you were like really thin, because of course like what I notice with a lot of people, Paizley, who lose like big amounts of weight, they're kind of afraid of food, and they're kind of afraid to kind of like gain weight, even if that's muscle. They're really afraid of it. They almost kind of fall in love with being this paper thin, and that's not really all that healthy, like good for your mental health as well. Kind of talk about that whole like that mental transition, because 87 pounds, drop that off, paper thin, bulking up, putting on muscle, cutting down. I mean, that had to kind of like at first was kind of weird mentally. Am I right?
Oh my gosh, mentally it was destroying me. Like I was supposed to do check-ins every 2 weeks. I ended up doing them weekly just because I was so terrified I would gain bad weight. So like when you're losing 87 pounds, all that matters is the deficit. But when you're bodybuilding, like I always thought bodybuilders just starve themselves until they get on stage. And that's absolutely not true. You're eating like 6 times a day, but like you're eating whole clean foods. And there's like no cheats, nothing. You're just eating clean, lean, sugar-free stuff. And so like, I don't know. When I was putting on weight, I struggled terrible with body dysmorphia. And so in 3 to 4 months, I put on 10 pounds, slowly, gradually, but noticeable. And then when I started prep, I was not ready. I focused so much on my physical growth. My mental, I just kind of ignored it. and kind of avoided the mirrors. You know, I'd post a selfie, try to act like I had it together, which is the society we live in. We all fall in it. We want to act like we got our shit together. And in reality, we're all falling apart. So, I mean, I can't explain the difference between then and now. Now I'm still struggling. I mean, I had to drop out of prep, which was embarrassing. I didn't want to announce it. But, I mean, I was mentally really in a bad place and still coming out of it.
Yeah. So for me, the one thing I tell people, I remember when I was doing a lot of one-on-one personal training at some point in time, I would tell my clients, you know, our first session really is going to sit here getting you mentally prepared for what you're getting ready to do. And I feel that's the part that so many people, they don't practice that. So another person who's made content for us, her name is Jenna Ross. She's an IFBB Bikini Pro. She actually recently got her PhD in like human performance, and it really focuses a lot on like not just the exercise and the sports, but like the mental health. So she's actually become more of like a professional sports like therapist, because this stuff is just so mental, you know, trying to compete, trying to do shows, and just being a mom and just life, you know, in general. And I tell people it's okay to say that you're not okay. You know, we live in, like you said, we live in this society of social media. You know, social media is crazy. There's great things about it. There's also some bad things about it as well, because sometimes it gives like false illusion of things in people's life, and sometimes you're trying to compare yourself to that, and then that person doesn't really even have it like that anyway. On that perpetrating type stuff. So for me, that was one thing I didn't want to do when I got into social media, was not perpetrate. Just be real, just be authentic. I think some of that kind of contributes to people's mental health as well. But let's talk about, you know, you and the show, and if you decide to do it again, you know, the things that you would do different. 'Cause I remember you were telling me, but I know, because I know many years back, I was actually preparing to try to do a show myself, and I didn't have, like you said, I didn't have everything together mentally. Like physically, I was getting my body there. I mean, I was leaning out, veins popping, I'm shredded. I'm like, ooh, you know, it's great. But then I got about 5 weeks from it, and just not having all of my things in my life really lined up. It threw everything out of whack. And I also, unfortunately, had to really like drop out from that. So just explain to just the importance of just trying to have that balance before you try something like that. Things were just got a little unbalanced for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what started it is comparison. And I will always say comparison is like the destroyer of all joy. Like, because it doesn't matter. You don't know what that person went through or what they're doing to get there. And sadly, in bodybuilding, a lot of people hide that they do gear, you know, and you could be comparing yourself to somebody that's running tons of steroids, you know, and it's mentally draining thinking, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I still don't look like this. Or it may be their third or fourth show, and this is your first show. So like, I always told myself, the woman I look up to probably stands in the mirror and picks herself apart too. You know, like we're genuinely all uniquely different. So, I mean, the comparison is what started it. And as you know, my coach, Jennifer Sadia, you sent her some shirts. Thank you. You're always supporting the best.
Sure,
and I appreciate it. You know, she was telling me this is gonna, like, you can't do that. You can't do that. So I stopped following some other competitors just because it was just mentally not good for me. Because now you go on competitors' things, and I would always see even people on my own team, and I rep Gainiac. They posted, and maybe they're just positive people. I don't know. If they are, great. If prep's just in their cup of tea, then that's amazing. But I never see nobody struggling, and daily I was like freaking crying. Or I was crying or I was yelling, you know? And when you're prepping with a partner, like my boyfriend could not understand why I was angry all the time or why I was just busting out in tears. And it's hard that way too. And you don't see a lot of people talking about that on social media. They post getting lean 7 weeks out, 5 weeks out, killing it, just hit a workout, carbs got cut. We got this.
It's all good, huh?
Yeah, I was like, hell no,
It
my
ain't all
carbs
good.
got
It
cut
ain't all good.
car, and I cried. Like, I did not want my carbs cut. Like,
I fucking know. I know for sure. I've done a prep, partial prep. So I know when I cut my calories like super low, every week I was cutting more and more and more, cutting my carbs down. And at that time I was doing that. Man, my daughter, my daughter was maybe like a little baby, and my crying all the time, rah! And then my son was like super like small, and I was getting calls from the school. He was getting little spats in trouble, and I'm prepping like
I'm dealing with it. I know.
I would say to be doing something like that, and I think for some people, the more and more you do it, if you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 shows under your belt, it's never easy, but it is easier. It's easier because
they know they're more advanced mentally.
So
they know when they have that thought, they train themselves to capture it. See, what I was is like, my mind was I just let it run wild because I didn't know how to control it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I dropped around 6-7 weeks out. I think I was closer like 6.5 weeks. And not just that, I was going to continue to push through, even though mentally I was just not there. But I was like, I'm so close. But then I had other things happen. When life doesn't align and your stress is through the roof and your cortisol levels suck.
Ooh.
I'm
water, weight gain, all that. I know about it.
Yeah, I'm taking something from Ganiac right now to help my cortisol levels chill because it's just bad, and you can't prep with your stress. It just bloats your gut. Like, it's just terrible. Stress is really
all that shit.
Oh my gosh. I know it.
Yeah, it gets crazy. So one of the things I talk to people about and that I've learned as far as like really helping your mental health is like your environment also, and the people you're around, the people you talk to, the content you consume, watch what you watch on YouTube, what you watch on Instagram, and also like trying to have if you do have a spouse, like a husband, a wife, or a girlfriend or boyfriend, having like a clear understanding of everybody's job and like kind of what's going on. So one of the things that I know about like bodybuilders that can compete and the ones that I've talked to and spoke to is their spouse, they have a really good understanding of kind of what's needed. They know like, okay, during this time, they may be a little grouchy. Maybe you need to take over a little bit more responsibilities in the house or things like that. It also kind of works better too if I know people that are real successful, a lot of times their girlfriend or boyfriend, they kind of do it together. I know a lot of like couple bodybuilders, but when you're I know you were trying to still be a full-time mom, you got 3 little kids. Like what are the ages again?
5, 6, and 8.
Wow.
And right now, my 6-year-old just got diagnosed with ADHD, and my 8-year-old just got diagnosed with ADHD. I was at the school office probably every day for the last like month.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
So trust me being a dad, I got a 15-year-old. So I've went through it a little bit longer than you. I know. So I actually had a son that was also, I think he was around 7 or 8 years old, was diagnosed with ADHD. So I've had the school calls and had the meetings and things of that nature. So I definitely know what that's about. So let's talk just really a little bit about what are some of the things that you're trying to work on to do to try to like, improve, like your mental health. Are you working on? So I know what happened with me, right? So I first started this whole like invest in yourself, personal growth code, probably like about a year and a half ago. And I've had the clothing brand probably for somewhere around a year. For me, I was just let me be blunt. I was trying to do too much shit. I was working full time, right? A wife, fucking two kids. I tried to start was doing a meal prep business for a while, and I was doing really well, but it took so much of my time. I was trying to do one-on-one personal training. I was taking so much of my time. I was trying to be a podcaster and do just all of this stuff. So one day I just had a day when I just like, I'll keep it going. And it just, I broke one day, just totally like, I was talking to my buddy and he went through a similar thing. He's a business guy, entrepreneur. He said, John, you have to prioritize. You're going to have to look at, what are the things you can focus on, or what are some of the things you have to walk away from right now, because there's 24 hours in a day. You're going to have to slow down a little bit and really just get your focus on the things you really want to do. And I love meal prep, and I feel one day we'll go back to doing it. We're helping a lot of people. It was just too much. It was too time consuming. So I had to walk away from that for a while and really focus on the apparel brand, which is a lot more manageable, and focus more on like the podcast and really trying to grow those two things. And I'm loving where the brand's been going as far as like my clothing. We've already pre-sold a lot of our brand new hoodies, so I'm like super stoked about that. That might not have happened if I was trying to have my hands in just all these different baskets. So let's talk about what Paizley Martinez is doing to try to like be better prepared for life and gyms. I know you were saying something about the workouts, and I forget the words you were saying, but it was something like you've learned to plan your workouts around your life instead of your life around your workouts. I don't remember your exact wording.
Yeah, I said I was doing the gym and would do my life around the gym, and now I'm trying to do the gym around my life, like switch it, because it just was not good. I just felt like I was failing as a mom, my house was a mess, and it just wasn't working. Like, I stopped enjoying the gym, which was crazy to me because I loved it. I fell in love with it.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So like right now, mentally, I am just focused on, like, I've unfollowed a lot of people, and also like my circle, which is like Gainiac, Casey and Steven, which are the owners, they have spoke total life into me the entire time. Like, I went through a deep depression, even like right at the end of my prep, and then when I dropped out, and they were there for me. I got some followers and stuff that have been super nice. Mayhem Gym, which is a Christian gym, they have, reached out and sent me apparel and stuff, and offered to help sponsor my next show. I even have another coach.
I've heard of them before. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Oh, they're awesome. And I've known them before, but like God has totally blessed their business.
Awesome.
And then there's another coach, and I don't want to pronounce the name wrong, but I don't know if you can see it.
Can't really see it.
Can you see it now?
A little bit. Why don't you spell it out?
Okay, it's coach.armin. And he's going to be working with Gainiac with his new formula, and has also offered to sponsor me too.
Nice.
So like, I am surrounding myself with good people, and other people see good in you. I've had to distance myself from other people, like the fake, just like people want to see you do good, but not better than them.
Right.
So I have definitely cut off a lot. Like, people that I know personally will watch my story, never like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I deal with that on a regular basis. I say, dang, they're constantly watching the story. They're constantly seeing it every single time. But you're not shooting me one like, but every time because when you click on people's stories, like, you kind of know, like, you're clicking to the little circle, and you're clicking all that story. Like, I don't click on stories I don't want to watch. I click on stuff and content like your stuff and people that I like, that I want to see their stuff. So you kind of know what you're clicking on.
Yeah. And then I kind of reached a point, because I would let that affect what gym I would go to. And that's bad for your mental health too.
Not at all.
Oh, it was. I did not I took a whole break, because gym clicks are so dumb. But to be honest, like I said in one of my stories, fitness is a lonely sport. Get used to it, because your goals will change, and so will theirs. And the closer I get to 30, knowing my life's coming to an end,
you got years, girl. Don't kick that. I got 9 years on you, so we got time.
Well, you still look young, so as long as we age gracefully, right?
We got time. Yeah. I feel like, us staying in the gym and trying to stay healthy and trying to stay positive, things like that is good for our skin and good for all that. And, maybe we can make it up there, in the 80s, maybe the 90s. So I want to talk to you really, really quickly about something. So I tell people this. I told my son's recently gotten into weightlifting and bodybuilding, and he's 3 months, the guy's made great progress. Maybe he has like great genetics. So he was just talking to me about, he just notices just kind of like fakeness
Mhm.
In a gym. And it's like that here. I know it's like that in Texas. You have some of that in California. So I was just trying to explain to him. It's like, son, there's some great, awesome people out there, but
Yeah.
not everybody, son, is great and awesome. And unfortunately, like the average person is average. They're not great and awesome. And like you said, a lot of people, they might want to see you do good, maybe not even see you do good, but don't want to see you ever do better than them. And he just notices just some of the fake stuff, at school,
Right.
and some of the fake stuff in the gym. And I'm just trying to teach him how to identify that. And I said, hey, you can say, hey, what's up to the person and things like that, as long as you know what it is. I tell people that don't trust anybody. Don't let anybody into your circle unless they really proven that they genuinely care for you and they genuinely like you. Some people are just hanging out with you, just to kind of see what you're doing. It's kind of like still that silent competition. People are just kind of weird like that. So those are things I'm pretty sure you said you've experienced a lot of that, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, my kids are young, and I tell them they deal with that at their age, and I'm like, not everybody's gonna like you, but that's okay, because you're a bomb kid, and it
Yep.
doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you have enemies, you're doing something right because they want
Right.
something that you have. And like I always tell my kids, don't kiss nobody's butt. That may be explicit for a 6-year-old. I don't care, because at like 27, sometimes I see myself kissing people's butt, just because I long for acceptance because I was a foster
Yeah.
kid, and I wanted people to like me and accept me. And now I'm just like, it doesn't matter, because as long as God's got me, like, and my kids are cool with me, exactly, like God's number one. I mean, the blessings come regardless of what people feel about you. So I think you're doing amazing. That's a good ass dad to sit there and coach your kid about that, because a lot of these parents don't care. They're not present. You know what I'm saying? And they think us gym rats are the selfish ones because we're leaving our kids going to the gym, but yet we're over here learning life lessons, lifting weights.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So for me, I had a buddy, and he's recently lost about 100 pounds,
Wow.
probably in the past year and a half or so. I used to work with him, and I had told him, he talks about the time and the investment and things like that. I was like, what if something were to happen to you because you are living this lifestyle and you were taken away from your children when your kids are still really, really young? What would your kids do then? So for me, you putting that hour of time or 2 hour of time, 5 days a week investment into your body and your health
Right.
really can help prolong your life, can help
Right.
prolong your quality of life. You could be there for your kids a heck of a lot longer. I see people sometimes that lose their independence when they're older. They go into nursing homes, late 60, 70 years old because of falls, weak bones and muscles and things of that nature. So I talk to people and I say, like, bodybuilding is dope, if you do it the right way. Like, working out is dope, if you do it
Yeah.
the right way. It's good
And
for
you're
your
setting an
physical.
example, I mean, what, you want your kid to eat McDonald's every day? No, I want my kid to have a healthy heart and not grow up with health issues, like there's so much more than just, oh, I go to the gym. Like my
Right.
kids, if I was to call one of them in here and say, what is mommy's favorite thing to do? Be healthy. She likes to go to the gym. She and then they offer like, hey mom, can I work out with you? And if you follow my page, you'll see sometimes when they have appointments or they didn't go to school that day because of the appointment or they weren't feeling well, the hooky.
Yeah.
Like, they'll come work out with me at the apartment gym. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so much more than the idea of just your outer appearance, and that's what I'm having to learn.
Yeah. So I tell you guys that are listening to the Invested podcast that fitness is great. It's good
Mhm.
for physical. It's good for mental. It sets an example. Do you guys come from like a family like I did, where like fitness, it wasn't like put on like a pedestal. It wasn't really talked
Right.
about. Nobody really did it. Everybody kind of ate bad. Type 2 diabetes runs heavily in my family. So I feel like for me and me trying to put that into my son and for me trying to put that into my daughter as well, I would say that I'm almost trying to break a generational curse
Right.
of disease, illness, being
Mhm.
overweight, being unhealthy, having diabetes, having to go to the doctors for a bunch of crap that we can
Right.
control on our own, but it's following a better, cleaner lifestyle. But I had to be the one to start that and really lead the example. So I hope that just starts to trickle down from generation to generation, and it starts now. So that was something that's super important to me. A big part of why I started the Invest in Yourself brand, and a big part about Invest Apparel.
Oh yeah, I mean totally. My birth mom was 540 pounds, and everybody on that side did meth. Like none of them have teeth.
Wow.
She lives in a tent, and she's like 55 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she lives out there up in French Camp in California.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that. It's just choosing a better hobby.
Yep.
Than meth or Netflix, or you know what I'm saying? It's more eternal. And I think once people move past the outer appearance, which is hard because I mean, like I said, I'm still learning. It has so much more to offer. But I mean, I don't know.
choose healthier hobbies. You know, it's better to be in the gym working out than being in a crack house. You know, that's something I told my buddy one time. He said, "You know what, bro? You're definitely right." So before I let you go, really, really quickly, let's just talk about the climate of like social media, like Instagram and stuff like that. Before I let you go, and let's talk about what I feel like eventually, what I'm noticing eventually. Instagram's algorithm is going to change. And I feel like over time, based on what I'm reading, they're going to eventually start more rewarding content. Of course, it has to be entertaining, but start rewarding content that they feel is like more genuine, minus all the filter. There's so much filters out there. And it's just like we said in the beginning, it's just crazy. I believe in just trying to be entertaining, but still trying to
for sure.
Genuine content that people can really like resonate with. I'm noticing it's starting to really work for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that's going to happen. I mean, fake has been in so long that like people are so sick of seeing it. Like BBLs were the ish in 2020. Like everybody wanted one. And now everybody like no shame. I mean, they look great on some women. I'm not trying to bash if that's what you choose, but now guys, you hear like Drake's new song. What was it? Where he's like, love the way they hang, babe. F the silicone. You know what I'm saying? About the silicone. And now they don't want you to have silicone.
So for me, when I got like serious about bodybuilding and I decided to really, really change my life, probably sometime in like 2013, the women weren't like, maybe the movie stars did, but women, they weren't getting the lower halves done at that time just yet. That came out got big probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And then you started slowly seeing that trickle into the gyms. And then it's like all the women want that. And for me, I really love and reward and like hard work. Not saying that, hey, that's what you want to go do. Hey, go do your thing. I don't judge you. But it's just like, dang, it's now we live in a society where like you can go get that. We live in a society where you can go get that in a day versus I see girls that's working for years, grinding, squat, lunges, sweat, blood, tears, just earning that shit. It's just different. Just looks different.
And I just more like about the person.
You can go in one fucking day and you can get that in a day. It takes years for girls to build. You can just tell the difference, not knocking it, but you can kind of see the girls that got it and girls that don't. You can kind of tell because usually when it's built real, you see the legs and all that kind of develop with it. You'll see some of these girls with the outside really big and then like the legs are small, but it's crazy now, huh?
It is crazy. And it's going to continue to change. All the habits change. Not habits, sorry. I'm listening to my kids since we're being real.
Outrageous stuff too. Like some alien stuff. It's crazy.
No, and I'm telling you, and it's just because like that was in. So like in 2020, that's what was hot, you know? And like as it goes on, like people are just tired of seeing like fake stuff, like no relationship's perfect, no fitness. Like bodybuilders do not look like that all year round.
Nope.
Like you should see them in their off seasons.
Right.
We kind of look chunky.
Yep, for sure.
It's part of it. And I don't know. I can't wait until Real comes out because I love talking about the depression. Yeah, talking about the depression, talking about the eating disorders. I'm trying not to be binging, you know? And then that's just real. And this is what we need to give people better mental health, because if we keep it real, they don't feel alone. They don't feel like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me because I'm struggling with this.
Right.
No, sis, we're all struggling with this. Like, so that's why I love to rep your brand, because you're real and we're helping other people realize what real is in a fake world.
For sure.
There's one more thing, like for people, because I said I was struggling with the binging thing, but there's this bakery that people have ate on their prep, and they're owned by coaches, and it is just phenomenal.
What's the name of it?
It's called the Buff Bakery.
Oh, wow.
Texas.
The Buff Bakery.
Yes.
I'm gonna look that up after this. I'm just a little bit curious about what they have over there.
Donuts, like this one's Nutter Butter Protein Donuts, and these are made by coaches that train people for prep.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're gonna be my saving grace when I
definitely. Yeah, before I let you go, I want to say this was a show that we needed to do.
Yes.
A show that really needed to be put out. And again, it fits that we record this show on World Mental Health Day. And I want to let all you viewers and all you listeners know it's okay to not be okay some days. You know, put your best foot forward and try to do your best. But it's okay to say, I'm a little down today. I'm a little depressed today. I'm a little sad today, because we kind of all go through that. But unfortunately, you know, with social media, people only want to shoot perfect pictures.
For real.
Perfect photos. Perfect videos. When, you know, an hour before, they could have been crying their eyes out. So
or throwing up in the toilet, or crying about their body. It's an angle. It's an edit. Yeah. I mean, totally.
It's cool to not be okay. Again, this episode is titled Mental Health with Paizley Martinez. I look forward to working with you more. It was great. We sparked up a great friendship over the past year and just really, you know, bonded over many things with life and the brand. I like what you do. I look forward to our future of working together. You were like one of my dopest creators and my best ambassadors, and I'm glad to have called you a friend. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Again, just take it a day at a time. That's the way I do it. I try not to think too far in the future and just try to just being the best I can today. We'll talk soon, Paizley. Take care of yourself.
You too. Bye.